Welcome to Cost Savers Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Asan.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking daily energy saving strategies, cut home bills by £400 today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like cheapest time to use electricity so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
So, Assad, energy bills. I feel like this is the thing everyone I know is moaning about right now. And you reckon there's actually quite a lot we can do about it.
Oh, massively, yeah. I mean, look, it's genuinely one of the biggest concerns for households across the UK right now. And what we've seen is that with some pretty straightforward changes, you could be saving anywhere from 300 to 400 pounds a year.
400 quid. For a lot of families, that's a month's groceries, isn't it?
Easily, yeah. And the frustrating thing is, most people don't actually know where their money's going. Like, the average UK household spends about £1,800 a year on energy, but so many are paying way more than they need to because they've just never really looked at the breakdown.
Right. It's one of those bills you just kind of accept.
Exactly. You just pay it and move on. But then you get someone like Sarah from Leeds.
Oh, go on.
So Sarah actually sat down and properly analyzed her usage, and she found she was overpaying by £45 a month. 45. Turned out her boiler was ancient and running really inefficiently, and her loft insulation was basically, well, inadequate is the polite word. She ended up cutting her annual bills by £540.
Wait, 540? That's even more than the 400 you mentioned. That's wild.
Yeah, her situation was she had a lot of low-hanging fruit. Not everyone will save that much, but it shows what's possible when you actually understand where the energy's going.
So, where is it going for most of us? Like, what are the big culprits?
Right, so the biggest one by far is heating and cooling. That's roughly 55% of your total energy use. Then water heating, which people always underestimate, that's about 18%. Appliances, your fridge, your washing machine, oven, all that, about 15%. And then lighting makes up the remaining 12 or so percent.
55% on heating? That is a lot.
It really is. And that's exactly why it's the first place to look. Because if you can make even a modest dent in that 55%, you're talking real money.
Okay, so let's start there then. What's the single best thing someone can do about their heating costs?
Insulation, hands down. It's not the sexiest answer, I know,
No, it's not exactly glamorous, is it?
but honestly, without proper insulation, you're basically paying to heat the outdoors. And the one that gives you the most bang for your buck is loft insulation. Heat rises, right? So if your loft isn't properly insulated, it's just escaping through the roof.
Mine is ancient. I think it might be less than 100 millimeters, actually, now you say that.
Yeah, so the recommended depth is 270 millimeters. And if yours is under 100, topping it up should genuinely be a priority because that alone can save you about 135 pounds a year.
Just the loft?
Just the loft. Then you've got cavity wall insulation, if you've got cavity walls, and you can usually tell because the walls are thicker than about 260 millimeters. Filling those can save around 160 pounds annually. And then floors, which everyone forgets about, but insulating your ground floor, especially if you've got those older suspended timber floors, saves you between 40 and 70 pounds a year.
Okay, so you could be looking at what, over 300 quid just from insulation?
Potentially, yeah. Does that make sense as a starting point?
It really does. Okay, what about the tech side? Because I keep hearing about smart thermostats and I'm sort of intrigued, but also a bit intimidated.
Don't be. So smart thermostats, things like Nest, Hive, Toto, they can cut your heating bills by 10 to 20%. The way they work is they learn your schedule, they adjust temperatures automatically, so you're not heating an empty house while you're at work.
Right.
And Tado does this really clever thing where it actually looks at local weather forecasts and adjusts your heating before the weather changes. So it's sort of preempting what your house needs.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually quite smart.
It is, yeah. The one thing I'd say is, and this catches people out, you need to check compatibility with your boiler before you buy one. Most manufacturers have checkers on their websites, but yeah, installation is usually pretty quick, less than an hour if you're replacing an existing thermostat.
Good to know. And then just like daily habits, the stuff that doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, so this is where it gets really interesting. The World Health Organization recommends keeping your thermostat between 18 and 20 degrees Celsius in winter for healthy adults. And here's the thing, every single degree above that range adds about 10% to your heating cost.
10% per degree?
Per degree. So just lowering your thermostat by 1 degree, can save you approximately 80 pounds a year.
80 pounds for 1 degree? That's honestly, I wouldn't even notice 1 degree, would I?
Most people don't. And, the old advice about wearing a jumper is boring, but it works. A decent jumper is a lot cheaper than heating your whole house to 22 degrees.
Fair enough. Okay, so we've covered the big one, heating. What about appliances? Because my house is just full of things plugged in.
Yeah, so appliances are about 15% of your usage. When you're buying new ones, always look for those A or B ratings on the energy label. An A-rated fridge freezer, for example, uses about 40% less energy than a D-rated one. That's potentially 40 pounds a year saved just from the fridge.
40 quid? Just the fridge. Wow.
And then the daily stuff. Run full loads in your washing machine and dishwasher because a half-empty dishwasher uses almost the same energy as a full one, which is kind of maddening when you think about it.
I hadn't thought about it like that. I definitely run mine half empty sometimes.
And the other big one, and I think this is the one that surprises people most, is standby mode. Devices on standby can account for up to 10% of your electricity bill.
10%? Just from things being on standby?
Just sitting there with their little red lights on, doing nothing useful, costing you money. Get a power strip for your entertainment center. Flick it off when you're not using it. Done.
I am so guilty of that. Everything's just permanently on standby in my living room. Okay, lighting. That's another one, right?
Yeah, lighting's about 12% of your bill. And honestly, if you've still got any incandescent bulbs anywhere in your house,
I might have a few lurking.
get rid of them. LEDs use up to 80% less energy, they last up to 25 times longer, and just replacing 5 of your most used bulbs can save you up to 90 pounds a year.
90 pounds from 5 bulbs. That's an easy win.
It really is. And then, the obvious habits. Turn off lights when you leave a room, use natural light during the day, open those curtains. Motion sensors in hallways and bathrooms are brilliant too. They're cheap and they pay for themselves in a few months.
Yeah, I've got one in my downstairs loo, actually. Love it. Right, so we've done heating, appliances, lighting. What about water? Because you said that was 18%.
Yeah, water heating is sort of the hidden cost that sneaks up on people. So, if your boiler is more than 15 years old, upgrading to a modern condensing combi boiler could save you between 200 and 300 pounds annually. That's a big number.
That is a big number.
And then a really simple one, if you've got a hot water cylinder, get a jacket for it. Costs about 15 pounds, saves you approximately 35 pounds a year.
15 quid gets you 35 back? That's just maths you can't argue with.
Exactly. And daily habits, shortening showers by just 1 minute. In a 4-person household, that could save over 50 pounds a year. And washing clothes at 30 degrees instead of 40 uses around 40% less energy per wash. Modern detergents work fine at lower temperatures, so you're not sacrificing anything.
It's just all these tiny things, isn't it? Each one feels small, but when you stack them up,
That's exactly it. And for people thinking longer term, there's renewables, solar panels specifically. The initial investment can be significant, but the payback period has really come down. You're looking at, say, a 2,000-pound investment saving you 400 pounds annually. That's a 5-year payback.
5 years. And then after that, it's just free savings?
Pretty much, yeah.
And there's the Smart Export Guarantee now, which means energy suppliers have to pay you for excess electricity you export to the grid. So it's not just savings, it's actually an income stream.
Oh, that's actually reassuring. I'd always thought of solar as this massive, unattainable thing, but
No, it's becoming much more accessible. South-facing roofs are ideal, but east and west work too. Most installers will do a free assessment, and if you already have solar, using your energy during peak generation, so, midday on sunny days, and maybe looking at battery storage, that maximizes your returns even further.
okay, so Assad, someone's listening to this right now. They're feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the numbers and options. Where do they actually start? Like today?
Honestly, just pick one thing. The easiest ones, adjust your thermostat down a degree, switch out a few old bulbs for LEDs, be mindful of standby power. Those cost literally nothing and can save you over £100 a year combined.
Right.
Then, when you're ready, look at insulation and maybe a smart thermostat. Those typically pay for themselves within a couple of years. And then, if your circumstances allow, explore renewables. There's also a cost-saver tool online that gives you personalized recommendations based on your home's characteristics and local weather patterns. Takes about 10 minutes.
Oh, that sounds really useful. So it's basically start small, build habits, and then scale up when you can?
That's it. And the cost of doing nothing is real. Energy prices are likely to keep rising, so every improvement you make now is also protecting you against future increases. Have I explained that clearly?
Crystal clear. So to recap for everyone, heating and insulation is your biggest lever. Loft, walls, floors. Smart thermostats can cut 10 to 20%. Drop your thermostat 1 degree for 80 quid saved. Kill the standby, swap to LEDs, wash at 30 degrees, shorter showers. And if you can, think about solar. All of that adds up to 300 to 400 pounds a year.
Nailed it. And honestly, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. Just pick one strategy, make it a habit, and then add another. Within a few months, you'll see a real difference on your bills.
Love it. Assad, thank you so much for all of that.
My pleasure, Angela.
Quick side note. This guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially Home Insulation ROI Guide, Free Ways to Slash Your Energy Bills This Winter, and Calculating Your True Renewable Energy ROI.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Cheapest Time to Use Electricity right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include Energy Saving Trust and UK government, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try Cheapest Time to Use Electricity, then read Home Insulation Guide, and use them together to take action today.